Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, hi. Thank you for joining the next event in our virtual Fireside Panel discussion series today. Our topic is a masterclass in financial planning and analytics. My name is Eva Mahoney and I lead university recruiting and programming for PayPal in Europe. This session today is geared towards current students and recent graduates with an interest in this particular topic, and we are absolutely thrilled to welcome you to the discussion. Our panel today is comprised of 3 highly skilled and experienced professionals from across our FP&A function. Please join me in welcoming Alessandro Catalano, Merchant BU FP&A Manager, Clementine Wenzel, Senior Financial Analyst, and Thibault Libat, our current FP&A intern. Before we begin, just some very quick housekeeping. Please do feel free to share your comments and your questions in the chat throughout the discussion, and we'll respond to any questions after the event. So without any further delay, welcome Alessandro, Clementine and Thibault. So excited to see you and welcome you to the panel discussion today. I'm very much looking forward to a focused conversation on this important topic. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in. Alessandro, would you like to kick us off with a quick intro?
Yeah, thank you, absolutely. Hi everyone. Thank you for joining this session. I'm so happy to be here with you all. My name is Alessandro. I'm Italian, so I'll give you just a brief introduction about me. So again, I'm Italian. I'm a banking and finance academic background. I've been working in finance since, well, let's say for at least 11 years now. And I worked across different industries such as chemical, investment banking, energy. In the certain years, I worked also in the retail energy sector. I'd say I'm quite a new joiner of PayPal because I joined the company last March 2023. Well, my main areas of responsibility and an expertise, I'd say, across my career have been and are the working capital optimization, the consideration reporting, cash flow analysis, and business performance analysis. This in a nutshell, I'd say. Thank you again.
Okay, so my turn for myself. So thank you everyone for joining. Very happy to be here sharing our experience today. So my name is Clementine. I'm French. Grew up in France. Really early on, I really knew I wanted to live abroad, work abroad, or at least in some of an international environment. I did a bachelor in international business and a double degree in the US. And after those 2 years in the US, I felt like I didn't have enough of life abroad. So then I enrolled in a master in international management in Italy with double degree in Sweden. So that's for my studies. And pretty early on when I was studying, I was pretty sure I would work in finance or at least in the analytical field. So although I have really generalist degrees, I really took all the finance classes as elective. And after studying, I got my first job out of grad school working for AXA, which is a French insurance company. I was based in Chicago. There I worked in FP&A and later in pricing for about a year and a half. And after that, I moved to Rome, Italy. So working for the same company, same job, just a different market. So overall, I spent about 2 years at AXA. And 2 years ago, I joined PayPal based in Luxembourg. So when I first joined PayPal, my first team was FP&A team looking after Northern and Southern Europe. And I was mostly supporting the country managers of that region. And finally, a year ago, I joined my actual team. And this is the Merchant Business Unit FP&A, where now my work is more focused on supporting the product organization. So that's about me.
Right, thanks, Clementine. Thibault?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Thibault, and like Clementine, I'm also from France. I recently finished a master's degree in finance at ESSEC in Paris, and prior to that, a bachelor's in math at Paris-Saclay. Today, I'm with PayPal for an FP&A internship based in Berlin, and so far it's been really great. Before that, I did a couple internships, one in FP&A in a car manufacturer and others in wealth management and physics research. In my current position, I'm part of the regional FP&A team in the merchant business unit, overseeing the Northern Europe and Germany regions. I hope I can help clarify some things for you guys today.
Thank you so much. So a lot of experience on the call. And Thibaut, great to have you as kind of our current intern. Really pleased with that. So let's go ahead and kick off with our first question. And that is, what is the difference between financial services and a finance function in industry? So maybe Thibaut, you could take that one for us.
Yeah, so financial services like banks, investment firms are catering to the financial needs of a wide range of businesses. Your job is to provide services like M&A advisory, debt issuance, and that kind of thing to other companies. Now, for the finance function of a company like FP&A at PayPal, you're more about evaluating your company's financial performance and providing insight for management. Your focus is on the nitty-gritty of the company's finances, budgeting, forecasting, and making sure that the financial ship stays on course. You're not dealing with external consumers. You're working behind the scenes to keep PayPal's financial house in order. So financial services are about serving a broad audience with various financial needs, whereas working in the finance function, like in FP&A at PayPal, is about taking care of the company's financial health from the inside. The work is different because the incentives are different. In investment banking, your incentive is to sell your services to other corporates to maximize deal flow. Whereas here, we're incentivized to provide the best quality insights for our stakeholders. That's what makes it more interesting to me. But of course, that's my personal opinion. Clémentine, did I miss anything?
No, I think, Thibaut, you're really right, especially about the incentives. Inside the company, we have different incentives. We're really long-term oriented, meaning that our leaders, when they make a decision, that will impact the company for years to come. And similarly, at the financial analyst level, we do track project evolution, and often we can be asked to really look at the past analysis that we've made to see if anything has changed or if the situation evolved in some ways. So there's really a long-term mindset. And lastly, there's one last key difference I would add, Thibaut, is that inside the company, we really have access to more information, and that makes our analysis really meaningful. External analysts, they would typically have access to public filing, to press articles, but working inside the company, you're really inside of a gold mine. We can talk to the internal experts in their field. For example, salespeople, they may have a really good feel of their market. And lastly is we really have very detailed data that will allow us to see any pattern before any external source. And particularly in the case of PayPal, we do have access to transactional data, so that makes it meaningful.
Thanks, Clémentine. Really interesting. The kind of the internal versus external perspective, and almost like the FP&A role is almost feels like a little bit of an investigator role to me, which is really interesting. And I think that's a good segue into our next question, which is, what is FP&A?
Yes, so FP&A, it stands for Financial Planning and Analysis. So we are the finance team that will support the decision maker in the company by providing them all type of financial analysis. So the most traditional that we deliver is the budget and the forecasted financial statements. But we also go into the details of like specific geographies or specific product. And our goal is to provide the leader with the right level of information so they can make key decisions. So to give you some example of some of the decisions that leaders have to make, not necessarily specific to PayPal or to our industry, some of those decisions can be whether to launch a product in a new country or to discontinue a service if it's not making money, whether they need to add number of customer service representative, all things like that. And even within FP&A, you're supporting different types of leaders, and so the analysis can vary quite a bit. For example, if you're supporting sales, it's going to be different than if you're supporting engineering because supporting sales, you're going to look at metrics like new deals, revenues, market shares. If you're supporting engineering, you will have to look at product roadmaps or impact of A/B testings. But overall, the analytical skills, the communication skill that you'll need for all those jobs are really similar across teams.
Interesting, thank you. Alessandro, I don't know, do you want to build on that a bit?
Yes, of course. Well, what Clementine just said is perfect. Let me just add one point. I'll say that, well, FP&A is a critical department in the organization because they're supporting leaders in defining the performance objectives of the firms. In other way, just to give you an example, it's like when we set the target for a salesperson, we take into account also which are the volume that we determine the volumes that support for a product, for example, that support the growth and also the profitability of the firm. So our role is quite important in this way. And I would say also that on the other hand, the FP&A department is also the one that need to, I can say, assess the result, the guidelines, the performance objective were achieved within here, for example, and this is again this is the reason why it's so critical role within the company. I would say just as a reference that FP&A is like a guide for the business leader because is supporting the business leaders in understanding the internal performance of the company in the context of an economic environment that is changing and is around, of course, the company, and also help the leaders to gather, all the external and internal opportunity for growth, just through the better understanding of the performance of the business, and of course by setting the goals for each leader within the organization.
Thank you. Thanks, Alessandro. Definitely really interesting and incredible kind of that FP&A function is really interacting with so many different groups and leaders across the org. And that kind of the function of this almost like signposting is really fascinating. So our next question is one that will likely resonate with our audience today. And that is, what are the key skills and experience that you look for when you are hiring an FP&A intern into your team?
That's an interesting question, especially for our audience, I'd say. Well, of course, FP&A is evolving across the time and following the industry trend. But when I assess a candidate for an FP&A role, I take into account a combination of factors and aspects that I think could make the candidate be effective once he or she decide is embodying in our company. So first of all, I would say his or her educational background and financial acumen. And what I mean there's a basic understanding of a financial concept and accounting principle. Then, of course, it's important to take into account the knowledge, the analytical skills of the candidate. So he or she is able to understand the financial data and draw conclusion. Just connect the dots, between financial result and business impact of the result, and vice versa. And I'll say it's also having a good command of coding represent a competitive advantage. Like I don't know, SQL or Python represent a competitive advantage for candidates also to show up within the pool of candidates. Then another point that I would try to take in consideration, that I will take in consideration assessing candidates, of course, is our financial modeling and Excel proficiency. Of course, nowadays we are using a lot of using example SQL, Python, so coding also to make our assumption to financial model. But Excel is still important, and also it's important also to understand that you using Excel to, for example, at the end we're using Excel to prepare our forecast, our model, our analysis. So I would say you have a good command in Excel and a good command also coding could definitely make you differentiate in the group of candidate. And then specifically to FP&A, I say, I think it's a critical and important factor to take into account is the communication skill. We are one of the finance department that are more exposed to the C-level of an organization. And having good command, having good, good communication skill is for sure a competitive advantage for you to have a career in FP&A, and I'll say also in the finance department more in general. And finally, I think it could be important things to have also, of course, a nice to have, I'll say it's useful also for your career. Having it is included in our leadership principles, I'll say the paper one, is the ownership mindset and eagerness to learn. You should be, I'll say, proactive and have willingness to learn from our business colleagues, from our colleagues within the finance department, and for the people that are surrounding you within the organization. The better, the most you learn from others, the better you progress in your career, and you learn about what are the main factors that are affecting our performances. That's in a nutshell what I'm looking for when I to assess a candidate and look for a candidate for an FP&A position and an FP&A intern position.
Thanks, Alessandro. I think we're very lucky in that we have a current intern with us on the call today. So, Tibor, I wonder if you want to kind of add to that.
Yeah, sure. I'd say take your finance and accounting courses seriously. They'll come in handy. Try to join finance-related clubs or groups on campus. Explore online resources, especially for Excel, because it's going to help you a lot. And consider projects that involve financial modeling. Like Alessandro said, that would be very useful in FP&A. Also, again, communication matters. Participate in activities that improve this skill, debate clubs, public speaking, or volunteering for roles where articulating complex ideas is required. Clear communication is crucial, especially when you deal with higher ups in the finance sector. And again, be proactive. See experiences, even if they're not directly related to finance. Any role that involves teamwork and learning is valuable. Take initiative in group projects, propose ideas, and try to demonstrate your willingness to contribute. Remember, the skills you develop now will play a pivotal role in your success during an FP&A internship. Try to take on challenges and pursue opportunities to prepare yourself for a good start in the world of finance.
Thanks so much, Thibaut. I think that's really interesting, to get your perspective as somebody who's currently kind of in our internship program. And I think what we say in PayPal is don't stay in your lane, be proactive, seek new experiences, don't be afraid to go outside your lane. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us. So, okay, we've talked through skills and experience. I think maybe now is a good time to pivot and focus on why PayPal is a great place to build a career in FP&A. So Clementine, I wonder, can you kick us off on that one?
Yes, of course. So joining PayPal, there's two things that have struck me the most in those last 2 years. The first being that, so PayPal being a large tech company processing so much of the payments worldwide, the learnings opportunities we have are really infinite. If you're curious, if you're data savvy, they're really infinite. For example, if you're curious into learning new data methodology, it's really easy to discuss with data engineers, with data analytics, as well as many of us in finance who actually have a background in business analytics. And at the opposite, if you're interested in understanding the payment cultures across the world, also so many opportunities like understanding which country uses cash versus credit card, which country is digitalizing the fastest, how people make use of credit when given access to it. All of those things are example of trends we are actually analyzing on day to day. And overall, at the end, payments are everywhere. So we become much more aware of the world around us, and we learn so much about the business model of so many different businesses. So that was the first thing. The second thing is that all this learning is really made possible by a very strong company culture that encourages sharing, caring. People across all the departments are really willing to share their knowledge, of course, as long as it's not confidential, and they will help you to make your job better in a way that I haven't seen before. It's really often that I need to reach out to someone I've never met, never interacted with, and sometimes someone from another continent. And by default, there's really a strong willingness to share and to help each other, because no matter which department we come from, at the end, we have the same goal. We want to provide the best service to merchant. We want to democratize financial service. And so that's what has struck me the most and why I'm very happy to join PayPal. I think, Thibaut, you can.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think it's a great place to work for various reasons. In contrast to my previous experiences, the atmosphere here is fast-paced, and the work that the people are not only skilled, but they also maintain a very good pragmatic approach. At the same time, PayPal is really committed to transparency. I can see there's a lot of information sharing and learning opportunities. Working collaboratively and innovating is encouraged, which I think is very important. And beyond this, the company values a healthy work-life balance that allows employees to contribute effectively while also maintaining a fulfilling personal life. If you're seeking a workplace that is dynamic and has a healthy work culture, I think PayPal is definitely the right choice.
Well, let me just one point to what Thibaut and Clementine already said. Having experience in other industry, I can definitely tell you that PayPal is a gym for your mind and for your future career. You work in a continually evolving industry. You're going to work in a continually evolving industry at the same time for a company which is a global leader within the payment industry, and which is driving and leading the innovation. You learn easily best practice in the FP&A world because of the top type professionals that we have here and that are working in our department. Finally, as already Thibaut said, PayPal culture promotes continuous learning, inclusion, and respectful work environment. All these factors altogether empower young professionals and make them deliver at their best. That's my feeling and what I think. Building a career in FP&A is tough because you have to master several knowledge, and such as, for example, say corporate FP&A, corporate finance, accounting, analytics, strategy, and negotiation. And you are going to use this knowledge every day in your career. And we apply this knowledge on a daily basis here. For example, when we prepare the presentation for our C-level leaders, we negotiate with our business partner in preparing the budget target. Here in PayPal, we apply our knowledge on these topics every day, and definitely our young professionals are ready to address the uncertainty of the world of future market scenarios. That's what I think about PayPal and having as the start of your career in PayPal.
Thank you all for taking just kind of a moment to reflect, I think, on why this organization is a great place to actually build a career in FP&A. I'm struck by the amount of times you talked about company culture, sharing and learning, which I think is really, kind of representative of this organization. And Alessandra, I'm definitely going to steal that quote. PayPal is a gym for your mind. I think whether you're working in FP&A or another part of the organization, that's a very true statement. So thank you very much for sharing that. It's definitely a gym for your mind. I'm conscious of time, so we are heading kind of into the last part of the presentation. I think we'll spend a few minutes now just talking about maybe what a typical day looks like in the FP&A function, although I'm sure there's a lot of sort of variety day on day. But Clementine, is this something you'd be able to talk to?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I can share what a day looked like in my role. So overall, it's a bit difficult to summarize because the tasks can vary quite a lot since the priorities can change quite a bit. But I'll try my best. So until now, we have been in a hybrid model. So what I do the day before going to work is really checking with my team who's coming that day. So I decide whether I will work from home or from the office. When I start my day, we typically have like a 30 minutes catch up with my immediate team, of whom Alessandro is there, where we discuss the top priorities for the day or top priorities for the week. And if anyone had a meeting with the US the night before, they will also use this time to summarize what has been said during that meeting. It's also a really good time to ask for help, ask any question, or if you have doubts about ongoing project, it's really the best time. And it's usually in the form of a stand-up where one by one we summarize our priorities, what we're working on, what help we need. Then during my morning, I would typically work independently. So either I work on a model to forecast some product revenues, or I do some performance analysis on historical data. For example, taking maybe a more specific example, every Monday morning, I will work on the performance of the week before, where I need to come up with a summary. And so here my main task is like to dig through dashboards to data to bring an interesting story to management about the performance the week before. The story will change every time because of the seasonality of the business, because of the macroeconomic conditions, also because PayPal has so many products and so many geographies that we need to cover. So every week there's definitely something new to cover. Can also be sometimes like maybe a specific vertical. So what we call vertical would be retail, fashion, travel industry, or maybe a special event. So there's typically a couple of events in the year, really retail oriented, that we'll cover. So Black Friday, Valentine's Day, Singles Days, all of those. And so that would be my kind of my morning on a typical Monday morning. And then I will spend the early afternoon maybe doing some couple of slides to summarize the story that I prepared in the morning. And oftentimes in the afternoon, I also have time to like follow up on external requests. So maybe I have an ad hoc request of like testing a new reporting tool or create some new SQL logic or additional slide for another project, all those type of things. Also really critical to our specific team is that the mid to late afternoon is really the prime time for US and European interaction. So it's almost always that the late afternoon is dedicated to catching up with my US colleagues who are in their mornings. And typically, like if it's a Monday and I prepare the analysis in the morning, I would catch up with them in the afternoon. And maybe they need to follow up with some other US team during their days. Yes, so I also follow up regularly with the other finance team in the US, where we will discuss assumption around the forecast modeling. We can discuss what are the risks that we see in the business, and we try to quantify all those risk opportunities. It's really nice to have those sessions, to have those peer-reviewed sessions, because we're really learning a lot from each other. So, and that would be the end of my day.
Thank you so much for that level of detail. It just sounds like there's so much variety in that. So really appreciate it. I think that's really helpful. So I think we're at the 30-minute mark. So Clementine, Alessandro, and Thibaut, I just want to say a massive thank you for your time today and for guiding us through a really insightful discussion. And to everybody who has joined us, we really hope that you enjoyed the conversation. And we have popped some helpful links up on screen now in case you'd like to learn a little bit more about internships and recent graduate opportunities at PayPal. We will also send out a link to the recording of the session later today, and we will be in touch to respond to any questions or comments that you've submitted into the chat. So with that, I'll just say we look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.